remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then after that, the invocation. And here to lead us in the flag salute is Bob Scambray, Principal at Roosevelt High School. I pledge allegiance those years because they left to go off to the war in World War II. And we have some graduates who are classmates who have already gone through the ceremony but are also attending tonight in support of their classmates who are now being joined back and listed on the rolls for the classes of 1942 through 1945. At this time, I would like to present to you, and it's Dr. Jake Abbott. Jack, you know how to do the name. Who is the Superintendent of Schools at Fresno Unified.
Good evening and welcome. We've had many graduations in the Fresno Unified School District in the past several weeks, but none more special than this evening. And I am proud to be a part of that. Not only because I am the new superintendent in the Fresno Unified School District, but I'm very proud of that, but also the fact that I am a native Fresno, and I'm very privileged to know some of these people. One of the individuals and I played baseball together through Fresno State. We were teammates. So it's an extreme pleasure for me to be a part of the graduation. The district is honored this evening to acknowledge those Japanese Americans who were relocated in turn during World War II. As a result of the tragedy of World War II, many of you did not receive your high school diploma. We're here to rectify that this evening. We are also recognizing a number of military people, former military people, who because of their military obligation during that period of time also did not receive their diploma. And again, it's time to provide that certificate to those people as well. As a district, we're very proud of this evening. We feel that the strength of this community has always been and will continue to be in its diversity and the different cultures that make up our community bring strength to this community. We are proud of those Japanese American students and military personnel who are part of Edison, Fresno, Roosevelt, and Fresno Tech. And Mrs. Curry was asking me about Fresno Tech. And there are still a few of us that remember Fresno Tech. Remember a lot about Fresno Tech. As I mentioned, I've had an opportunity to participate in a number of ceremonies. However, tonight, I'm especially proud in joining with you, the graduates, the friends, family, in celebrating this important event, symbolic of our efforts to make amends and to demonstrate our gratitude to those who were excluded from graduation. Our heartfelt congratulations and our thanks for your efforts over the many years and your patience in waiting for this very special night. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abbott. When we have an event like this, and only once in a lifetime can we do something like this, it's only appropriate that every agency that works for the people of the state of California and the city and in the county recognizes the momentum and the fantastic event that we have scheduled tonight. As a result, I would like to note that Senator Roseanne Buich's office has sent Barbara Husid, as a representative tonight. Councilman Jim Cox's office is represented by Chris Reardon. And the Honorable Mayor Karen Humphrey is here with a proclamation from the City of Fresno, and I will go on with the things next.
Thank you, Larry. I'm honored to be here. I'm delighted to be here. I can't think of any graduation I'd rather be attending this year than this very special one. I have a proclamation that was presented to Larry the other day, but we wanted to make sure that all of you heard it. I knew the City of Fresno is honoring Whereas education is a cornerstone upon which the American dream is built, and whereas the injustice of the relocation of Japanese Americans during World War II prevented or delayed their pursuit of academic excellence in education, and whereas Project Amends seeks to have diplomas restored to all citizens who, because of the tragic events of World War II, were not allowed to graduate from their home high schools, now therefore be it resolved that I, Karen Humphrey, Mayor of the City of Fresno, do hereby declare a special day of recognition for Project Amends and the awarding of high school diplomas to all American citizens who were denied diplomas during relocations, government evacuations, and other regrettable acts of World War II. Be it further resolved that on this day, June 19, 1990, Liberty Day, we celebrate the rights of American citizens to enjoy their liberty without the fear of actions to abbreviate those rights. I want to wish congratulations to each and every one of you, and I want to tell you that the very best graduation gift that we can give you is our commitment that something like this will never happen again, that there will never be another American child who will not be able to receive their diploma with their classmates. We're so very delighted to be able to be presenting them to you tonight and to give you that gift. Thank you very much.
And sends his greetings. Let me read it to you. Whereas education is central to the principles and ideals Americans treasure and hold so dear, and whereas Project Amends is dedicated to awarding diplomas to Japanese American citizens who as students were interned at relocation centers during World War II, and whereas Project Amends is also dedicated to awarding diplomas to all United States military service personnel who, having fulfilled their military obligation, did not receive their diplomas through the mail as promised, and whereas World War II was a time of loss and tragedy for all citizens, and as proclaimed by President Gerald R. Ford in the Bicentennial Proclamation of February 19, 1976, we have learned from the tragedy of that long ago experience forever to treasure liberty and justice for each individual American, and resolve that this kind of action shall never again be repeated. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fresno County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims June 19, 1990 as a day recognizing Project Amends. Be it further resolved that the Board acknowledges June 19, 1990 as a special day of recognition coinciding with Liberty Day in honor of the many Japanese Americans whose freedoms and liberties were so thoughtlessly violated, as well as those U.S. service personnel who so valiantly fought to preserve the cherished freedoms upon which our nation was founded, adopted by the Fresno County Board of Supervisors the 19th day of June, 1990. In addition, I would like to recognize, along with us tonight, Jerry McMenamin, a board member of Fresno Unified School District. Jerry, please stand. Ruth Catterbush, board member, Fresno Unified School District. We have some special guests with us in addition. Excuse me, there's one here. Juan Arambula, Fresno Unified School District board member. I assume to represent Fresno High where I work. Sorry. We are delighted to have some special guests with us in addition to the special ones that I've just mentioned. With us tonight are Edison High teachers who were teachers in 1942, 43, 44, 45, and I would like them to stand as I call their names. Mrs. Helen Blasco. Helen.
Good evening. When I was asked to give a speech, I panicked. I really did. I'm a homemaker, not a speech maker. But because this is such an honor, I decided I'll tackle it. And so please bear with me. The year 1988. Words such as, where are the Japanese classmates? Why aren't they at the reunions? How come? We have to do something about this. We must. The voice and the words will Phyllis Bilbo. And that was the beginning of the Project Amends. small amends out of a monumental wrong. In order to relate this true story I'm about to give, first I must borrow a phrase from Phyllis Bilbo. The phrase is, democracy, or is it hypocrisy? This is about a young high school girl, Japanese girl. Met her counselor for the first time, recognizing the name of a former student. He asked. She said, "That's my father." He went on to say, "Fine young man," he was. Certainly was a firm believer in his convictions. And he also said he had a good arm. Now that young man's story goes way back to 1942. And democracy was one of the subjects he was studying. Then came the notice of evacuation in internment camp. The following day, he went to his class as usual, went to the back of the room, stood there, picked up his book of democracy. Then he turned to the teacher and he said, "Democracy, if this is democracy, you can have this." And he tossed that book way across the room, to the front of the room, hitting the blackboard, barely missing the teacher, and he walked out. That's where the good arm came in. Recently, my grandson, 9 years old, confronted me. But before I go on, I have to say, there's a continuation to that story. That man eventually enlisted in the armed forces and fought and defended his country. Today, that man is my husband. To get back to that story, my grandson, he's 9 years old, he confronted me and said, "Grandma, are you really going to get your diploma?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "Long time." And I said, "Yes, 48 years. Isn't that wonderful?" But he looked at me and sadly, he said, "You aren't too smart, are you, Grandma?" And I was able to make him understand. One day he would. This diploma is unique in itself because it has 48 years of history etched into its contents. There's only one of its kind, and never shall there be another one. So I will take this diploma as a legacy to my children, and their children, and their children, and generations to come. Tonight, a dream, a mere dream, has been turned into reality. And isn't it wonderful that it took our classmates to put that in motion? To them, words are inadequate. Our feelings, our deepest gratitude and appreciation, and the support they have given us. And to all those who cared. So now, we the graduates shall go forth into our future to seek and keep seeking Social Security, Medicare, whatever else we have to offer.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, honored graduates, their relatives, and friends. I think I covered everybody. I consider it a very personal honor and a very special privilege to be asked to speak before this group this evening. First of all, let me express my gratitude to the Project Amends Committee, led by Mrs. Phyllis Bilbo and Mr. Larry Powell, who gave many years of their life in preparation for this event. Usually, you know, at a high school graduation, the graduates are young, they're eager, and they're full of pep and bubbly in nature. The keynote speaker usually speaks about what to face in this world when you go out. Are you prepared for the challenge? And that type of talk. Well, this evening is especially unique one. And because I believe no graduation ceremony like this has ever been held in Fresno or elsewhere. It's very unique. Also because practically all of you are graduating seniors are seniors in the true sense of the word. Actually, you're a senior citizen. Now, one may ask, how come this high school graduation exercise is being held within almost 50 years after the time had passed? The answer to that question is what I want to talk about this evening. And may I be permitted to address the graduates who are in the majority Japanese American, and I'm going to address my talk on that line with your permission. Now, what I have to do is to go back to history, recollect with you what it was like in 1941 and 42. The time that you were having a time of your life here in high school. Well, for one thing, the world was in a big turmoil. Our country was involved in a war in Europe. And especially for us Americans of Japanese ancestry, ominous war clouds were gathering in the Pacific. Dire threats were being exchanged between our nation and Japan, and here we were caught in between, hoping and praying that somehow things would be worked out. Our military forces were being mobilized, and we were preparing for a possible war with Japan. Then it happened. The event of December 7, 1941 at Pearl Harbor brought our little peaceful community crashing down around us. All of a sudden, the public who didn't know us personally began to look at us suspiciously. Then ugly rumors started to fly, such as the one about the Japanese flyer who was downed at Pearl Harbor and who was found to be wearing a ring of McKinley High School of Honolulu, somehow suggesting that he was a Japanese-American traitor of some type. Of course, it was later confirmed that there was no such person, but rumors have a way of spreading, and newspapers, of course, played it up. By the beginning of 1942, mass hysteria held sway in our country. And finally, in February 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued an executive order ordering evacuation of all persons of Japanese ancestry, including American citizens, from the Pacific Coast area for the reason of military necessity. Now, obviously, all of us citizens were deeply disappointed and dismayed, and many of us at that time felt that the government, our nation, had let us down, to say the least. Now we pondered, what does the Constitution mean? How could our government do this to us without any official hearing of any kind? We hadn't committed any crime. We were being evacuated based solely on the color of our skin, nothing more. Now, by the way, the Japanese Americans at that time were a very small minority, with an average age of 18 years old. Now, we had absolutely no political voice and no political clout of any type. The only dim hope that we held was that someday, somehow, the innate fair play of the American people would realize the wrong that they had done. And that's all we have to hope for. Finally, evacuation of May 1942 came. Now, after only a short period of time, we disposed of our lifetime accumulations of business, homes, ranches, and all our worldly possessions. In most cases, this had to be done hurriedly at an astronomical financial loss. Of course, all the students from the school had to leave their school, even though it was only 1 month away from June, the date of the graduation. Now, what was it like to be evacuated? We were first herded into the Fresno Assembly Center, which is the present Fresno Fairground, racetrack oval in the racetrack. The place was surrounded by barbed wire fence and military police guarding towers, bristling with guns. We were placed in a hastily put up crude tar paper barracks with common showers and toilets with no partitions of any type. Now here we spent 5 months instead of the estimated 1 or 2 months. Necessary supplies were short, and there was much anxiety, frustration, and suffering. However, we did the best we can under the circumstances what we had, because there was no alternative. Then the next move was into the hinterland for more permanent stay for the duration. The Fresno group in May was moved to a place called the Jerome Relocation Center in Arkansas. When we first got off the train as an advanced crew, so we had an advanced crew at first, and I remember the camp director meeting us as we got off the train, and he was surprised at seeing us. Why? It was like many people in our country. He knew nothing about the Japanese Americans, only through stories and stereotype cartoons. So he thought we were all 4 feet 8 or 5 feet tall. And so he had, and also had buck teeth. So based on that understanding, he ordered all the closet space and laundry tubs in the laundry hall to be lowered, because he figured they're short people. After seeing us, he changed his mind. And he had the tubs raised and the shelf raised again. And I was impressed at that time that here, these are the kind of wrong impressions that are formulated when people do not know people actually. And that's how misunderstandings arise. Well, after a while, we were settled in the black car-papered barracks with a single room, folding up to a family of 5. Of course, the whole place was surrounded by barbed wire and guard towers. In the meanwhile, the war was going on relentlessly. Then, one day, news was spread that a special combat unit called the 100th Infantry Battalion was being formed in Hawaii, composed entirely of Hawaiian Americans of Japanese ancestry. And after the training, they were dispatched to Africa for action. Then, soon later, our War Department gave orders to create a special Japanese-American combat regiment, including the 100th Infantry. And this was to be called, the new unit was to be called the 442, 442nd Regimental Combat Team. And then, when this was announced, from the midst of the relocation centers of various places in the United States, there were 10 of them, volunteers came into this combat team. Their objective for joining the combat team was twofold. First was to serve in the defense of our country. And the second was to prove beyond a doubt that their loyalty lies with our nation. After the training at Camp Shelby, which was near the Arkansas Relocation Center, the 442, that's the unit, sailed overseas to European theater of the war. Now, because of the lack of time, I can't go through all the exploits of that famous combat team, but here's a few of them. One was they were helping in the establishment of a beachhead at Anzio, Italy. I think those of you who know about the war know how tough it was to do that, but they did. And then another one was famous battle of Mount Cassino, which was a fortress on top of a hill, and it was considered impregnable fortress. Well, the 442 took that. Now, when we went to France, there was an incident in which they liberated the village of Gruyere. And Gruyere had been under the yoke of enemy for many years, and they were having a tough time. The villagers of Gruyere were so grateful to what they called the gentlemen soldiers of the 442 that they placed a memorial plaque honoring them. And to this day, in fact it was last year, the villagers and the 442 members exchanged visits in fond remembrance. Then there's that episode of the heroic rescue of the Texas Lost Battalion, in which the battalion was trapped on top of a mountain, completely surrounded by enemy. The 442 was pressed into service to rescue them. And for 21 days, they battled up that hill. And they finally succeeded in rescuing the lost battalion. And for that, they were given the title of honorary Texans by the people. But in so doing, the 442 suffered casualty which amounted to more than the number of people that they had rescued. Then, in Germany, where a part of the 442 liberated the concentration camp of Dachau. That's one of the German concentration camps. Then they were back to Italy again toward the end of the war, breaking down the underbelly, so-called, of the enemy forces. Now, here, in one of the last battles, they went in to capture a key strategic hilltop area, which was keeping a full division of our army at bay, and they couldn't move. Well, 442 finally was ordered into this battle, and they took that height in 3 days. For all this, the 442 became the most decorated outfit for its size, 8,000 to 9,000 men in total, and for the length of the service that they had in the war. And their record is the most decorated unit of that type in the entire history of the United States. Now, just to mention, they won everything from Congressional Medal, Distinguished Service Cross, Distinguished Service Medal, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. 9,400 Purple Heart, Presidential Citation Unit, Meritorious Unit Service, so on and so forth. Totaling 18,140 awards for 9,000 men. And that was quite a Obviously, they paid a high price in blood and lives for all this. Many never came back. Now, I must say at this time that as impressive as the record of the 442 was, they weren't the only one of the Japanese Americans who contributed to winning the war. And that is the vital part that the Japanese Americans played in military intelligence service in the Pacific here. Now, their work is not generally known to the public, simply because it was a very secret nature of their work. These army interpreters, trained in the Japanese language, did work in decoding secret Japanese code, interrogating prisoners, and so forth, which no other Americans were able to do. Their commander in the Pacific, in praising the work of these Japanese Americans, stated that he believed that the war in the Pacific was actually shortened by many months due to the contribution of these Japanese Americans. So you see, while the rest of us, Japanese Americans and the Japanese, were languishing in camps, our brothers and cousins were out there proving their loyalty with their blood. Finally, with the end of the war, our life in the barbed wire camps had ended. Now we were allowed to come home at last. However, many came back to their hometown only to face prejudice again. To the credit of some of our American friends who believed in fair play, the displaced Japanese Americans gradually found a niche for themselves and resumed normalcy of life. Now gradually, because of the war record of the young Japanese Americans, and because also of the relative quiet cooperation and composure of the evacuated population, the general public began to accept the Japanese Americans. Now, it would be amiss if I do not mention here the tremendous moral support given to us by the American Principle of Fair Play Committee, headed by late Dr. Hubert Phillips, Fresno State College. Also, the American Civil Liberty Union and the American Friends Service Committee, and also the countless friends who stood by us through these trying days. We owe them all our deepest gratitude. Our battle was not still over in 1945, although the World War II had ended. After an uphill battle and struggle in Congress, a bill was finally passed in which our fathers, mothers, and others who were not born here in the United States was finally given the privilege to apply for American citizenship, which up to that time they had been forbidden by our law. Many years after the war, the secret archives of our government were finally opened to the public. And here it was discovered for the first time that FBI, at the early part of the war, had notified our government that the Japanese Americans were not a threat to our national security and that there was no necessity for mass evacuation. Now that finding contradicted the basis for the military necessity as the reason for the mass evacuation of the Japanese Americans. In fact, there actually was not a single act of sabotage committed by the Japanese Americans. The uphill struggle continued until finally in 1988, President Reagan signed the congressional bill apologizing to the American Japanese that the government had made a mistake in doubting their loyalty and by evacuating them. Now this act erased the last cloud of loyalty doubt that had been hanging over our heads for the past 40 years. At long last, our hopes and faith in our country's sense of justice and fair play prevailed. Also, after 46 long years, but finally the wrong had been righted. Through all this experience, we Japanese Americans have a fervent wish and hope that our country will never again allow such an event to happen. Now, in closing, may I say that the privilege of receiving our high school diploma is taken for granted by many people. But in your case, when you graduates, it was rudely interrupted. But this evening, through the good graces and sense of justice and understanding on the part of faculty and the school board, you are to receive your diploma. Congratulations to you all, and thank you to the committee for making this event possible. Thank you very much.
That was marvelous, Dr. Tyler. Thank you very much. Very, very much. My daughter is here tonight, and I wanted her to be able to hear what he had to say. Personal thank you from me. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Mary Curry from the Fresno Unified School District Board, who will begin the presentation of the classes of 1942 through 45.
Thank you, Mr. Howard, to the graduates, to the guests, to the dignitaries who are representing our elected officials, and to our own superintendent, Dr. Tara Agnes Cooper.
This is a very emotional time for all of us. I think we all have some investment in this historical event. I'm pleased to be here tonight to represent the Fresno Unified Board of Education. On December 5th, 1989, the board took action to award these diplomas, and I'm very pleased that we have the opportunity to be here. I don't think any of us will go untouched by such a historical event. It's a very sad chapter in the history of this great nation that we did in fact have our own people incarcerated. I can recall at the time of all this, I was a very young child. I can tell you how old I was, but I was very young. And I remember my father going off to war when I was 9 years old. I also remember 5 uncles going off to war when I was 9 years old. Many people did not come back. My father was one of those that did not come back. But I need to tell you that compassion and love and care for one another is how we get through these times. To Mrs. Bilbo and to Mr. Riggins and to all of those who played a very vital role in bringing this together, please forgive me, I have a real investment in this. We make mistakes. But the tragedy of our mistakes is that we either don't correct them or we take a very long time to correct them. I'm pleased that tonight we're here to make a correction. It took an awful long time, much too long. I recall a young lady that came to Denver, a young Japanese lady that came to Denver, and that's where I live. And she was one of those that had lost her parents in this, and she was allowed somehow, and I don't know the details, but she was allowed to move west. And I remember Kay very well. She was a very special friend of mine. So when looking out at your faces and knowing the prices and sacrifices that you made, I need to tell you that I'm very proud that Fresno Unified saw fit to make this gesture, however late it is. The tragedy is that so many people are not here to know about it. We pray that this will never happen again. For as long as any of us are in bondage, none of us are free. You are very special tonight. For those of you who are not Japanese but had military service, I need to tell you that you're also very special tonight. Because without your efforts, those of us who have had people in the military, many of whom did not come back, would not be here. So I have just to tell you that I am especially happy to just be a part of making history. Because tonight we're making history, people. And it's a good chapter now, because we've gone through the sad stages. And many of you carry scars that will stay with you till life. But we want you to know, and I want you to know, from the bottom of my heart, I'm happy to be here tonight. And I thank you. And I'm happy to be able to award diplomas tonight to the graduates of Edison High, Fresno High, Roosevelt High, and Fresno Technical. Thank you very much. It is with great honor tonight that I, by the power invested in me by the state of California, I now pronounce you duly graduated.
In addition, standing on this side, assisting as the graduates come up, will be Stan McDonald, the principal at Edison High School. Standing on this side, assisting as they go down, will be Ray Baker, principal at Fresno High School. And assisting behind will be Bob Scambray, principal at Roosevelt High School.
George Iwahashi. Ken Manoka. Matt Subora. Shigeo Inahara. Ray Hunter. James Robinson. Richard Bachman. Nora Haddock Cox. Teruko Kuamoro Uchiyama. Hideko Masuda Okajima. Hiroko Kamiyama Sudama. Masayo Takemuro. Sumiko Hamaguchi. Hiro Amano. Sho Hashimoto. Phyllis Bilbo. Angelo Ariolo. Bob Delamar. William Lopez. Han Kawaguchi. Henry Shiroka. Anton Ciromelli. Catherine Champagne. Audrey Mark. Rebecca Adila Williams. Esther Sai Freitas. And Howard Zinamura.
Howard, thank you very much for reading those names. I did an event became people. As I read through the microfiche down at Student Services, I started with last names, did not have first names because the yearbooks didn't include them in many cases. And as I would go through, I would find on the microfiche a little document that said, sophomore, 1941. Junior, half a year, 1942, relocation, Jerome, Arkansas. And then I would see that it was born, this person was born in 1926. So as I searched through the microfiche, I would find those that were born in 1924, 1925, 1926, 1927, 1928. And I found myself going from a historical event to people that I couldn't wait to meet. And then I would find someone that made it. Dr. Akira Jitsunyo, who was still in town, and graduated in January 1942. And I would sit there at the microfiche and I would go, all right, he beat him. The process I went through, I benefited most from the honors that you are receiving because my life was changed as a result of it. And I want to thank you for the integrity and the dignity which you have shown through indignation and rejection, and for the service that the servicemen have shown by serving our country and missing out on a part of Americana that is real tough to ever capture back. Personally, I wish to thank you very, very much for the process I have gone through in helping you receive this night. This time I would like to introduce Phyllis Bilbo, who is primarily responsible for this entire event. Come on up here, Phyllis. Phyllis is a trooper.
I discovered through all of this that we're crazy about sports in this country. So, forget the torch. Nobody even knows the meaning of the word torch anymore. It's football. And this whole thing, starting way back in January of 1988, has been a brutal football game. Some of it was easy and some of it was hardly fought. But we're here tonight, and I hate to tell you, I'm going to have this drill all over again, because the goal is San Diego to Seattle. Is that north? And we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. So, Larry, you are going to receive the torch.
We have a goal that it's going to be Project Amends USA, and until every Japanese American and serviceman has not received their diploma, our job's not done.
Larry just made All-American Administrator. So I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank you, all of you. I don't know what else to say then. Messiah, I promised you I would say something. I couldn't get her to talk until I promised that I would say something. This is it. Thank you for coming all.
One last time, graduates, please stand. Mr. Ruffner, the recessional and the reception afterwards, please give them the applause they deserve as they walk down the middle aisle one more time.
Is this too low for you? No, it's okay. No, they're lower, yeah. Lower. It's not slanted down though, huh? This is slanted down. You're talking about those over there? If you get up to them. These are here? Yeah.
I like the way you come out with a big giggle, you know?
Avocado. Okay, that's all right. And that's all good. It's all cooked. Thank you. Go ahead.
How you been?
Yeah, really, I only have 2 hours.
That way. We got out of that kind of category. I don't mix. Yeah. When I say,
You do that pretty well. I got you on tape. Ray?
Teach them how to use chopsticks, Steve. Hi!
Everyone for coming tonight. Such short notice. We were expecting more people, but really do appreciate your helping us celebrate such a wonderful occasion. Just like to introduce a few people here. The head table, Phyllis and Bilbo. Two very instrumental organizers in our project. Probably one of the most important people to start off the project. And we really appreciate all the hard work and effort. Jack Snyder and his wife, again, without his encouragement and his support, bugging my mom and dad to keep doing these things, you know, getting involved. Again, that's all we heard. Just how wonderful Jack and I, and just the support that we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Ray Appleton and his wife Michelle, again, tremendous honor to have you here. I listen to your show at lunch when I'm eating lunch. Believe me, it's just an honor to have you here.
It's our pleasure.
He's also, well, no one knows about Ray, of course. He's the host for the talk show on KMJ Radio, and it's a great show. 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday.
Get your plug in.
He's been a real advocate for the rights of the Japanese Americans, and of course for this particular project. So again, thanks.
He's better than Rush Limbaugh.
You got it. Amen.
Rush is coming to town. Or is it
Bruce Williams.
I was here.
No, Bruce is coming to town.
Bruce is coming to town. Before we do the toast, I'd like to introduce the members of the family in case everyone is unaware. First of all, my mom's brother, Masashi Takemoto, and my aunt Louise.
The trouble.
One of how many kids?
Right, we have 6 kids. Five. My Aunt Aiko and Uncle Hank, Tanoa.
How dare you put him? This is American world.
And their children, Lee, Kathy, and Gwen. With Cliff is Cliff Osaki. And my sister, Chris, and my brother-in-law, Steve Goss. And their 2 kids, Kyle.
Look up.
And my wife, Kathy, and my 2 kids. This is Whitney and Aaron.
The troublemaker.
The troublemaker. Junior troublemaker.
Well, before we toast, I'm not the speech maker that my mother is. Of course, she wanted the fee to write this, but her fee was too high for this particular so I better wing it on my own. Well, of course, I can't really reiterate what's been said before about the miracle coming true and also the dreams coming true for my parents and her fellow classmates. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Field of Dreams, but it was a wonderful movie with Kevin Costner. And if you haven't seen that, it's just a tremendous movie. And in the movie, he plays a farmer in Iowa who hears voices. And he hears voices. The first voice that he hears is saying to him that if you believe, he will come. And the premise is that his father, he and his father never understood each other until finally it was too late. He had gone, he had left, he had passed away before he had a chance to tell him or do the things that he wanted to do for his father. But the movie itself is a wonderful movie, and the fact that dreams, if you believe hard enough, do come true. It's just, again, a real touching movie. Steve and I went to see that last year on Father's Day, and we came out of that movie crying. It's a really excellent movie. But again, these people, my mother, her fellow classmates, and again, Phyllis and Jack, and all the people involved, Larry Powell, they believed in something, and it finally has come true. You know, my mom and my dad have lived their dreams through us and their children. And through them, their consistent banging on the head and telling us about camp and telling us about the things that have gone on, make sure nothing like this happens to our generation. And I'm sure nothing like that will ever happen to the things that they've had to go through. Through their own patience and perseverance, the dream has come full circle for them, and finally there's reality to it. There has been an end to that for them. To receive a diploma, of course, to us, it's not, I have to confess, a high school diploma, it wasn't that big a deal, you know. It just meant that we accomplished 4 years of having a lot of fun and going to class once in a while and actually getting something. Even a college diploma, I think we all probably tend to take that for granted also. But for my mother, and I'm sure for all of her fellow classmates, the degree represents much more than that. It symbolizes for her and for her fellow classmates, at least for a small segment of time, that they can go back to the future. To touch a time when life held a promise of some wonderful things to come, of love and happiness that they can share with each other and with their family, some heartache, of course, and sorrow, of establishing a place in society, hopefully in our society, of growing and giving of themselves to others, and again, and to their family. A time when good friendships become bonded, no matter what the expanse of time is. So if you'll all please rise, I'd like to make a toast. A toast to my mother, Messiah Takanoriano. We've made us proud of you, and we love you very much, but also to Phyllis, to Jack, and Larry Powell, and Ray Appleton, and all the people involved for all the wonderful work and effort to make their dream a reality. Cheers.
Go pie.
Go pie. I'd like to do traditional, the three bonsais. Bonsai? 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 Bonsai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight she came. Yeah, that's what it was.
Teachers and all you guys who are like 18-year-olds going, yeah! I was like, you know, smiling here, and the tears were pouring out here. I was like, yeah!
Well, that night we were 18 years old, you know, so it just all of them came to us. The one thing about you guys is you didn't throw your hat.
Yeah, wow. I can't blame you for that, too.
They can't get out of the way when it comes out.